Look at your project folder. Count the ones at roughly 70% done. That's not bad luck. That's a cliff, and it has 4 predictable edges. By the end of this video, you will know exactly where in a project's lifecycle you quit, and why. Not in general, specifically. There are 4 moments. Each has its own mechanism. Each feels different from the inside. Each looks identical from the outside. A 70% project, abandoned, replaced by a new 100% idea. If you've shipped fewer than 3 things this year and started more than 7, this video is a mirror. The cliff isn't motivation, it's architecture. You built the cliff. I'll show you where. Here's the anatomy. A solo project has a predictable energy curve. Weeks 1 through 3 are dopamine. The idea is new, the problem feels solvable, the dock fills up fast. Weeks 4 through 6 are mechanics. You're building the actual thing, momentum carries you, code compiles, copy gets written. Then something happens around the 70% mark. The remaining 30% is not 30% of the work, it's 60% of the work, and it's the boring 60%. The Pareto principle predicts this. Wilfredo Pareto noticed in 1896 that 80% of effects come from 20% of causes. Software project research confirms the inverse. The last 20% of a feature takes roughly 80% of the total time. Edge cases, auth flows, payment failures, empty states, onboarding copy, the unsexy infrastructure that makes a thing real. And here's why it's invisible from inside. It's 70% the project still feels like almost done. You're not failing, you're just slow. So when a new idea appears, fresh, 0% complete, full dopamine, it doesn't feel like quitting. It feels like prioritizing. That's the trap. The new idea is at week 1 of the same curve. You'll abandon it at 70% too. You've done this 6 times, you'll do it again. Unless you can name which cliff you're standing on. You built the thing. It works on localhost, you haven't shown it to anyone, and now you have to. This is where 30% of abandoned projects die. The mechanism is exposure aversion. Building is private, shipping is public. The moment the work crosses from your machine to a stranger's screen, it stops being potential and starts being judged. Example, indie hacker builds a niche SaaS in 6 weeks. It works. Stripe is wired up. The landing page is written. He doesn't launch. Instead, he rewrites the onboarding. Then he redesigns the dashboard. 3 months later, the codebase is bigger and the customer count is 0. He didn't quit. He polished. If your last 3 commits are CSS tweaks on a product no one has paid for, this is you. Specifically you. Not a metaphor. Mechanical fix. Set a launch date before the MVP is done. Put it in your calendar with a Stripe payment link in the event description. The deadline is the architecture, not your willpower. Cliff 2, right before launch. The "it's not ready" cliff. You set the launch date, you hit 95%, and then you find a reason it can't go out on Tuesday. The button isn't centered, the copy needs one more pass, you don't have analytics wired up. Each excuse is technically true and strategically fatal. The mechanism here is different from Cliff 1. Cliff 1 is fear of judgment. Cliff 2 is fear of flat response. You've imagined the launch for months. The real outcome, 50 visitors, 2 signups, silence, would shatter the fantasy, so you delay. Delay preserves the fantasy, launching kills it. Example, founder schedules a product hunt launch for the 15th. On the 13th, she realizes the pricing page needs a 3rd tier. On the 16th, she's still working on the 3rd tier. She'll relaunch next month. Next month is March 2024, it is now next year. Mechanical fix, pre-announce the launch publicly. 1 tweet, 1 date. Public commitment makes the delay more painful than the launch. Cliff 3. Week 1 post-launch. The "is this working?" cliff. You launched. The response was modest. 40 visitors, 2 signups, 3 nice tweets, 0 revenue. You expected either a hit or a flop. You got signal less. This is where the largest cohort of solo founders quits, and they don't know they're quitting because the project doesn't get formally killed. It gets paused. The mechanism is ambiguity tolerance. Week 1 results are noisy. A real read takes 4 to 8 weeks of consistent shipping and distribution. But the human nervous system doesn't tolerate ambiguity well, so you start another project, one with cleaner upside because it hasn't met reality yet. Example, developer launches a Chrome extension, 40 installs in week 1. He concludes, no one wants this, archives the repo, and starts a B2B SaaS. The Chrome extension would have hit 1,000 installs by month 3 if he'd shipped 1 update and posted twice on Reddit. He'll never know. If you've ever said, I'm pivoting in week 2, that's not pivoting, that's quitting with a better vocabulary. Mechanical fix. Commit to a 60-day post-launch window before any pivot decision. Write the end date on a sticky note on your monitor. Decisions before that date are not allowed. Cliff 4, Month 3. The "this is grinding" cliff. You survived the first 3 cliffs. The product is live. You have 20 paying customers. Revenue is $340 MRR. The work now is not building, it's marketing, support, iteration, distribution. Boring, recursive, low feedback work. This is where the most painful abandonment happens because the project is real. The mechanism is identity mismatch. You started this as a builder. Month 3 demands an operator. The work that grows the project from $340 to $3,400 is not the work you enjoyed in weeks 1 through 6. It's customer interviews, ad experiments, SEO content, onboarding emails. If you don't restructure your week to match the new phase, you'll start a fresh build project on the side just to stay sharp. 3 months later, you'll quietly let the first one die. Example: founder hits $800 MRR on a no-code tool. Instead of running a 90-day distribution sprint, he starts a side experiment, an AI wrapper. 18 months later, the AI wrapper is at 0. The no-code tool is at 1,100, neglected, mechanical fix. At month 3, delete your build environment for 1 week. Open your laptop only to your CRM, your analytics, and your inbox. Force the role change by removing the tools that let you escape it. 4 cliffs, 4 mechanisms, 1 pattern. Cliff 1, you fear judgment, so you polish. Cliff 2, you fear flat response, so you delay. Cliff 3, you can't tolerate ambiguity, so you pivot. Cliff 4, you don't want to be an operator, so you build something new. None of these are motivation problems. All 4 are architecture problems. The fix is never want it more. The fix is changing the conditions so the cliff is harder to walk off. Here's what to install tomorrow morning. 3 things, 15 minutes total. 1. Open your calendar right now and put a public launch date on your current project with a Stripe payment link in the event body, even if the project is at 40%. 2. Write the date 60 days after that launch on a physical sticky note stuck to your monitor with the words "No pivot before this date." 3. Archive every project folder on your machine that is older than 90 days and below 70% complete. Move them to a folder called Graveyard so you can see the count. The count is the lesson. You don't have an idea problem. You have a finishing problem. And the cliff was never the work. The cliff was the architecture you didn't build to keep yourself on the path. If this landed, subscribe. There's more like this every week, and the next one is on the exact opposite pattern. The founders who ship everything but never finish anything well, and why volume is its own form of avoidance. Before you close this tab, do one thing. Open your project folder and count what's sitting at 70%. The number is the diagnosis. Now you know which cliff.